All right, today we're diving into a classic short story by G.L. Fuentes called A Letter to God. Now, this is a really fascinating tale. It's all about absolute, unshakable faith, an amazing act of kindness, and, well, how those two things can collide in a way you just never expect. You know, they always say faith can move mountains, but this story really makes you stop and think, what or who should we really be putting our faith in? It's a huge question, right? So to explore that, let's meet the main character, a guy named Lencho, and see how his story unfolds. So picture this. Our story starts right here, in this one single house perched on a hill overlooking a whole valley. And you see that field of ripe corn? It's just bursting with the promise of a great harvest. For the man who lives in that house, that field isn't just a pretty view. It's everything. It's his whole world, his entire life. Okay, let's dive into part one and really meet this farmer at the heart of our story. So here he is, Lencho. The story calls him an ox of a man, which tells you everything you need to know, right? He works like an animal in his fields, just tirelessly. But here's the thing. No matter how hard he works, his fate, his family's survival, it all boils down to this one single field of corn. And the stakes are clear right from the get-go. Lencho's done everything he possibly can. The only thing left to do is wait. He spends his whole morning just staring up at the sky, waiting for the one thing that's completely out of his hands, rain. And just when it feels like his prayers have been answered, boom, the story takes a really dark, sudden turn. I mean, you can almost feel the relief when those first drops start to fall. Lencho is so happy he actually calls them new coins. But that joy, it doesn't last long. Suddenly, the wind picks up and then massive hailstones start crashing down. What started as a blessing quickly turns into an absolute curse. Just listen to this. The hail has left nothing. This year, we will have no corn. I mean, can you imagine? The whole field is left completely white, like it's covered in salt. The corn is totally destroyed. All that work, just gone. It's a moment of absolute, soul-crushing loss. Now, in this moment of total despair, what do you think he does? He doesn't go to his neighbors for help. He doesn't go to some government agency. Nope. He turns to let's say a much, much higher authority. And this is what is so incredible about Lencho. His entire life's work has just been wiped out in minutes. But is his faith shaken? Not one bit, not even a little. He has this rock-solid belief that God sees everything, and there's just no way God is going to let his family starve. So what does he do? He comes up with this plan that is so simple, it's actually kind of profound. He walks into town, he sits down and writes a letter. He explains exactly what happened with the hailstorm, and he asks for 100 pesos to get his family through the year. Then he seals it up, puts a stamp on it, and drops it in the mailbox. And the address? Just 2 words. To God. Okay, so the letter's in the mail, and this is where the story takes a really interesting turn. We're about to see how this one little act of faith ends up affecting a whole bunch of other people in a way nobody could have seen coming. So try to put yourself in the postman's shoes for a second. He finds this letter, and this guy has seen everything in his career, right? But he's never, ever seen an address like this. He just starts laughing his head off. He can't help it. And he runs to show it to his boss, the postmaster. And this quote from the postmaster says it all. What faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter. See? This is a huge turning point. At first, the postmaster's laughing along with everyone else. But then, something clicks. He gets really serious. He's just blown away by the sheer, pure power of this man's faith. And he decides right then and there, he cannot be the one to shatter that belief. So the postmaster comes up with a plan. He decides he's going to be the one to answer the letter. He goes around to his employees, asks them to chip in. He even gives a part of his own salary. And all together, as an act of charity, they managed to scrape together a decent sum of money. Now, he couldn't quite get the full 100 pesos Lencho asked for, but he got pretty close, a little more than half. He puts all the money they collected into an envelope, addresses it back to Lencho, and inside, for the signature, he writes just a single word, God. It's this simple, beautiful gesture, all meant to keep this man's simple faith alive. All right, now we get to the climax. We're about to see how this amazing act of human kindness is actually received. And I'm telling you, this is where the story delivers its absolutely brilliant, just Gut punch of an ending. So the next Sunday, Lencho strolls into the post office to check for his letter. The postman hands it to him, and get this, Lencho doesn't show even a flicker of surprise. Not one bit. Why would he be? In his mind, it was a sure thing. He knew God would answer. And meanwhile, the postmaster is watching from his office, just beaming, feeling so proud of the good deed he's done. Lencho tears open the envelope. He looks inside, and he sees the money. But when he counts it, it's not 100 pesos. It's only 70. And his reaction is not what you'd expect. He's not grateful. He's not even a little bit happy. He is furious. Because you see, in his mind, there's no way God would make a mistake like that. God wouldn't shortchange him, which could only mean one thing. He storms right over to the counter, grabs paper and a pen, and writes a second letter. He tells God, hey, I only got 70 pesos. You need to send me the rest. And then comes the final, absolutely devastating line. He says, but don't send it to me through the mail because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. And there it is. The story's brilliant. Absolutely crushing irony. Lencho's view? God sent the full 100 pesos, and the thieves at the post office stole 30 of them. The truth is, we know, the postmaster and his employees are the very people who saved him. His faith in God is so powerful, so absolute, that it completely blinds him to the actual human kindness that was right there in front of his face. The heroes of the story had become the villains in his mind. So what are we left with? I mean, Lencho had all the faith in the world in God, but zero faith in his fellow man. It really makes you ask, where did his real treasure lie? It's a powerful story for sure. A tribute to human kindness? Absolutely. But it's also kind of a tragic warning, isn't it? It shows how easily we can miss the good that's right in front of us if we're only looking up.